kidnapping and holding the children of Elbath as hostages in order to what I assume is going to be getting the giants to do whatever they want. And concerningly enough, to do this, they're apparently now calling in another Holy Knight, and I'm just dying to know who that new person could be. Like, could it be one of these many other possible Holy Knights here that we see next to Garling during the God Valley flashback? Or since this was a very long time ago, will there be some newer Holy Knights that will be revealed? I don't know about all of you guys, but I'm super excited to learn more about them and their powers, and if there's anyone that we've already seen or someone related to someone we know, like kind of like the entire Shamrock thing again, I don't know. I think that'd be kind of dope, but maybe that's just me. But let's bring this back to Loki now though, because now that he's apparently all alone, we need to discuss what exactly is going to be his role in the rest of the arc if he does in fact stay alive, which again, he probably absolutely will. And what idea that I kind of have here could explain why Loki is actually chained to this particular spot here. Because only upon rereading it, I kind of realized that last chapter, Loki said something that really caught my attention. He said that he could not move from this spot. And that just kind of got me thinking, like, is he talking about being tied up? Because if so, duh. Or is there actually more to why he's chained up exactly here and doesn't want to move? And really, with all of the weird timeline stuff going on with the gap between when King Harold died and the time that Shanks captured Loki, I'm kind of starting to suspect that Loki might have not been captured at all. Let me explain what I mean here. I just want you to imagine for a second the timeline for a moment. There are 8 years where we don't know whatsoever what Loki's actually doing. He could have stayed on Elbath after killing his father, but I kind of think it's more likely he just went straight out to sea, which is how he earned his special bounty. But if that's the case, why did it take Shanks so long to capture him? I mean, surely he would have heard about King Harold's death, right? If he was looking for Loki. But you see, the idea that I actually had instead was, what if Loki and Shanks were actually the ones who made a deal here? Because we do know that the Raja pirates have been protecting the path to the One Piece, waiting for the right person to show up. We also know that Loki wants to be the sun god, and he might even know something special about the One Piece treasure as well. We also still kind of assume that the 4th road poneglyph might be right here in Elbath, so I am wondering at this point if Loki might have made a deal with Shanks to come back to Elbath and protect the final road poneglyph by, and you're gonna laugh at this, by just straight up sitting in front of the entrance to that road poneglyph. Yeah, you heard me right. I'm suggesting that Loki might literally be sitting in front of a tunnel or a cave that might lead to the final road poneglyph. Which, I mean, I know, sounds a little bit hilarious, right? But what better way, if you really think about it, to protect it than by placing a monstrous fighter right in front of the entrance, blocking it? And it's not just a super random idea either, because I do have some more evidence here. If you remember the first road poneglyph we found on Zo, which was also kept there in a secret tunnel inside of a massive tree, so that would kind of fit in nicely with this idea of the final road poneglyph being hidden inside a tree as well, that Loki is tied to. On top of that, it seems that Shanks also visited Loki recently, so perhaps Shanks wanted to get a copy of the poneglyph since he's now finally ready to find the One Piece. But what's really interesting though is that I've always been a little bit bothered that Loki doesn't just try to break off parts of the Atom Tree in order to get free. I mean, sure, we do know that Sea Stone makes you weaker, but it doesn't make him completely useless, right? And we even saw Luffy running around and doing tons of stuff with Sea Stone on while in prison in Wano, so you're telling me that this monster of a giant can break off some bark or something? I guess the Atom Tree is supposed to be strong, but to me it sounds just a little bit suspect if you ask me, especially after this chapter when we have Frankie casually talking about taking pieces of the Atom Tree and selling it out in the world, right? But now to tie all of this together, if Loki is protecting the final road poneglyph here, he could of course also then be the man marked by flames. His eyes are covered up after all, so maybe it's his eyes that were burned sometime in the past. Now of course that wouldn't exactly explain the other rumors about the man marked by flames, like the black ship and the whirlpools, but I'm pretty sure you can imagine that those rumors could have theoretically been made while Loki was still out at sea, maybe even taking the poneglyph out to sea with him. So yeah, I do think there is at least some potential to this theory with Loki hiding the final poneglyph, but all that might not even matter honestly, because this chapter finally also confirmed that Loki's last chance of getting help is not gonna work out whatsoever. And honestly guys, what I'm gonna talk about next here might have made me even more hyped and happy than anything else in this chapter, and that says something, because Shamrock makes me happy, the lore makes me happy, but this, let's just say at this point, I feel like I might be the certified #1 #1 Scopper Gaban fan. I mean, I'm slowly convincing all of you guys as well, but I've been literally preaching that he has to come into the story at some point for months now, and now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're finally one chapter, one step away from his real reveal. Real reveal? Ooh. And that's of course because just as Luffy is coincidentally talking about the Roger pirates and them being a family, this man right here approaches the castle. Which to me is just kind of like a not so subtle hint about this man's true identity, and boy am I excited. Scopper Gaban is of course the last major member of the Roger pirates who Luffy still hasn't interacted with at all, and based on the previous Roger pirates like Shanks and Rayleigh and even Buggy, Scopper should be playing a massive role in Luffy's growth as a character and fighter, and in general in the end of the story. So let's just say I am beyond hyped to see how this entire section goes, and if it's not Scopper Gaban, honestly I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be very sad. But since it's now basically confirmed that he's going towards the castle, then I really don't know what is gonna happen to Loki right now. I mean, I previously speculated that it might just be this mystery man right here that might be the person who comes and clashes with Shamrock and Gunko to save Loki, or at this point just heal the giant prince, but that clearly isn't a priority for this man, or he just doesn't know that it's happening. So perhaps this man will warn Luffy and the others that Loki is in danger, and then they will all go down there and fight together to save the cursed prince, though I guess now the Holy Knights are already gone. And of course that does make sense, but I do have to admit there was one thing from this chapter that made me feel a little bit disappointed. And I'm just gonna say this is a small thing and I'm not really all that mad about it, but it all comes down to the fact that Luffy is now already aware that there is someone who looks like Shanks wandering around Elbaf, and I mean, it's not even really a mystery because they literally just talk about the fact that maybe Shanks has a brother who's right here at this point. So now, of course, Luffy is just gonna be on high alert for something weird going on, and that just completely ruins any chance that Luffy might think that Shanks is Shamrock, or the other way around, I guess. You know, Luffy running towards Shamrock being like, Shanks, and then he like being stabbed, would have been fun, but like there's like a 0% chance that this happens now, I think. Like, this was honestly one of the most interesting questions relating to Luffy that I had for the near future of this arc, but now it just kind of seems impossible. So yeah, very much a minor thing here, but definitely something that ruined a little bit of potentially interesting scenario for me. That being said though, I do think we need to point out one major flaw for Luffy here, and that is his blind devotion towards Shanks, of course. We've actually seen it twice now when people are talking bad about Shanks, and Luffy instantly jumps to his mentor's defense without any questions asked, which is great and all, but it also just makes me wonder what happens if Shanks is not the, white knight in shining armor that Luffy believes him to be. Would Luffy be able to accept that his mentor can do some bad stuff, or will Luffy just always think that Shanks is in the right? For example, just take what happened with Luffy's #1 fanboy Bartolomeo in chapter 1126 here, because in this panel, Yasa basically wipes out Barto's entire crew, and while we don't know if they survived or not, I have to imagine that Luffy ordinarily wouldn't really like that someone attacked one of his friends, right? You see what I'm getting at here, right? What if he learns that it was Shanks' crew that potentially killed some of his friends? Would he be angry, or would he kind of like look past it because it was Shanks and his buddies? Like, I don't really know, but it's a really interesting dilemma actually to consider if you really think about it. Because of course at some point Luffy would eventually have to figure out if the Red Hat Pirates were actually truly evil or even just a rival threat, and he then needed to fight them. But if it takes him some time to figure this out, it could cause some major problems and potentially some fatal losses while he's still figuring that out. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm pretty sure you're all a little bit tired of waiting because I've been avoiding to talk about the wild lore reveals at the end of this chapter for long enough, I think. So let's dive into the history here, and honestly, I'm almost a little bit intimidated by all of this because boy, like, this was some deep, heavy lore drop. And it all, of course, starts when Ripley is showing Frankie around the Atom Tree, and the cyborg stops at a mural on one part of the tree. Now, I'm really curious what you think here, because honestly, there's just so much to analyze and speculate with this amazing panel. And one cool thing about this is that this mural is basically one of the few confirmed sources from the past that we can actually understand, alongside, of course, the murals from the moon that we saw in NL's cover story as well. Now, before we start breaking this down, let's also bring in the Harley mythology that Saul showed to Robin at the end of the chapter as well. Because obviously what Frankie saw is just the tip of a massive iceberg here, and this is something that we've been wondering about for a long time. Would Robin be able to read the Harley mythology text? Like, is it written in the same language as the poneglyphs or some other ancient, long-lost language? But it kind of turns out to be written in just a common language that the giants and I'm assuming other people can read as well, which is actually kind of incredible. Because honestly, I was expecting to see what usually happens when we find a poneglyph. Usually Robin will just read it and maybe make a comment or two here and there, but no, like this time we get to see with our own two eyes what is in this book, and boy, it is spicy. Like, okay, because not only does she confirm what Jarul told us about there being two ancient wars, not just one, but we also get to see the exact words in the Harley text for ourselves here, which is just amazing. But enough of the extra details, I know you're all waiting, so let's talk about all of the juicy lore here. And matching the 3 Harley chapters with the mural that Frankie was looking at, we get a breathtaking picture of what might have actually happened during the 2 ancient wars. And first off, we have 2 sides of this mural here. A right side and a left side. And if you remember, just like you're reading the manga, in Japanese we start reading on the right side. Unless we're being told otherwise, I think we can pretty safely assume that the right side of the mural matches up with the first world text from the mythology. So let's just talk about some of the crazy things we see here. We have a serpent of hell, which looks like it's rising out of the earth all the way on the right side. It also looks like this kingdom of people was really highly advanced with all the advanced technology and even skyscrapers here, and like all of that crazy stuff. So was this the time of the technologically advanced ancient kingdom that Vegapunk told us about, or even earlier? I mean, if it was, then what was the so-called forbidden sun that the humans took that made the gods go so mad? Just throwing out some initial ideas, that could mean something like the eternal flame energy source, or it could be the true source of devil fruit powers. Like, just for example, take all of these star-shaped baldy thingies that we see the people carrying. Could those represent the people's desires turning into devil fruits like Vegapunk talked about? Just one idea, but it could also just be a major energy source to power all of their technology, and maybe that's what lets them launch this flying ship that we can see here between the fires as well. Or is this actually the Archmech scene coming down from the moon? Now the text also tells us that the enslaved people prayed and the sun god Nika appeared. And all of this made these monsters not happy at all, and it kind of seems like they wiped out the entire world, or one of the ancient weapons potentially. Again, being one of the 2 times the world got destroyed and flooded, as we talked about previously. Then if we're moving up to the left half of the mural and the second world, I think this one is very clearly showing the time of the Void Century and Joy Boy's time. In fact, it seems to show exactly what we all imagined Joy Boy's allies to be like. There are, of course, the giants, the merfolk, many tribes of humans, sky people, minks, even a giant robot similar to Emeth, and I think this one will probably be an ancient giant. So to me, this whole second world is basically describing the conflict between Joy Boy and someone else. Now, I'm not 100% sure yet who this giant weak monster is on the left. Maybe Emu, maybe something or someone else, but in the end, the text tells us that humanity killed the sun and ascended to divinity, became gods. And you all can let me know what you think, but to me, this is clearly, I think, talking about the 20 kingdoms defeating Joy Boy and then moving up to Marijua to become the literal celestial dragons and gods. Which then in turn seems to have made the sea god, which to me would probably be Poseidon, very angry, and perhaps that is what then caused the flooding of the world once again, destroying it a second time. But yeah, just looking at this, has your imagination exploded just as much as mine? Because there's just so much here, and we haven't even touched on the third world text whatsoever. Let's do that now though, because as we're told, this is most likely talking about the current age with the sun returning and a new dawn. And I think this is obviously not that subtly foreshadowing for Luffy at the time after the final battle, when he will bring the new dawn and true peace to the world, because that's basically what he's been doing almost every single island that he's been visiting all throughout the story. But boy, let me just tell you, there is so much more that I want to talk about that's hidden in this mural. Like, the one thing that blew my mind the most is that almost everything from the first and second world text can actually be directly linked to the lyrics of Big Sake that I retranslated. I mean, if you haven't seen it, yeah, it's crazy. It was all there all along, and I, like, surprisingly actually cracked that a while ago. So time to bust out those lyrics if you haven't read them in a while, or you can check out my full deep dive in the Big Sake lyrics video. But even with everything that we just discussed, there is so much more to talk about. Like, who are the demons and monsters? Could the Serpent of Hell have been turned into the Red Line potentially here? What does it mean when it repeats the line about never meeting again, and then in the Third Age, meeting again? And where in the world does emo fit into all of this? Well, I'm actually taking a little bit more time to break down all of this because I think there is so much that we can deduce from this, but I need a bit more time. So look out for another deep dive video in 2 days where I will give you my full analysis of this ancient mural, and I'm really curious if you have any cool ideas as well, so please make sure to let me know in the comments if you think I should include something. However, one thing that I'm really proud about is that many of my recent theories about the ancient world have actually been somewhat true. Like seriously, I talked about these 2 different ages, the fall of the Lunarians, the ancient gods of the One Piece world, and so much more that fits in surprisingly perfectly with everything that we've just learned. And while I'm pretty sure that we're of course not 100% accurate, I was honestly really shocked to find out just how much fits perfectly with what we learned in this chapter and the last. So if you want to see the mega theory that I've been cooking up about the history of the One Piece world, that again you will want to watch after reading this chapter, check it out below me. Otherwise, as always, thanks so much for watching, and in particular, thanks to my Patreons for keeping the channel afloat and helping us out with everything while the anime, the manga is luckily not on break, while the anime is still on break, and helps us make all these crazy projects like turn them into reality. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.
I think treading carefully would do an awful lot to just dampen that blow, and it would also allow you to be more open and honest about things, because you're living up to in private what you say in public would begin to converge more, because you will have uncertainties. You will be chronically uncertain all the time. What is it that I need?
Have you heard about the Goonicide? Let me break it down for you. This man visits a bikini coffee establishment, food place, drive-through window. Not quite sure which one it was. You don't really have those in New York State because New York is the best state. Nonetheless, he gets caught with his drawers down. Was he whacking it? Was he gooning? Seems to be the case. Turns out, after getting called out by the barista, whoever she was working there, he speeds off and later winds up dead from a self-inflicted cause. And people on the internet are calling it the Goonicide, the last goon. It's tragic, it's weird, it's perfect for slop. Let's get into it.
Drive-through Goonicide. I know, you say it all the time, and yet somehow it's become a reality, a drive-through Goonicide. I mean, you guys say those words all the time, right? These are words that definitely have meaning, right? It isn't 2025 and feels like we're all just making sounds with our mouths that don't actually translate into words, right? It's a drive-through Goonicide. So early last week...
Man barely pulled around the corner and did that shit instantly.
There came this video that started going viral on Twitter that was basically an individual that drove up in a Dodge Charger to a coffee shop called Barista Bikini Beans or something. Basically, it's one of those coffee shops where the girls all wear bikinis and serve you coffee, you know, like a Hooters or something.
I don't know if I support the idea of these goon-coded establishments. You know, a lot of people are like, we used to be a real country with Hooters. A lot of Hooters closed down. I just don't know if I want ass in and around.
Look what you... All the rest of it, I feel like you're bringing people along for the journey, but no one likes anything more than tearing down someone that was certain that got it wrong. right? You know, it's the smart ass in school. It's the guy that has every single
Yeah, that's
answer, and
me,
then he
for
puts his
real,
hand
for
up,
real.
says the wrong thing, and you're like, yeah, all right, mate. Like, so yeah, I think treading carefully would do an awful lot to just dampen that blow, and it would also allow you to be more open and honest about things, because you're living up to in private what you say in public would begin to converge more, because you will have uncertainties. You will be chronically uncertain all the time. What is it that I need to do? Like, how should I look to move forward? So I don't know, there's some insights.
I fear that if I don't speak with that certainty, that my advice won't be taken as seriously.
Well, it shouldn't be taken seriously because you're no one. You got lucky on YouTube making incel fucking 4chan videos, and you posit yourself as an authority figure, so now you're fluent in Japanese. And yeah, you've been able to make money online, congratulations, but like, holy fuck, you have no idea what you're talking about. Because most of us don't, because we're young and naive and we don't have enough life experience.
That may be true. That may be true. You're
It's
not
the
going to be a
definition of
messiah
faking
who
it till you
comes in
make
and
it.
says, well, this water might become wine, and we might turn this fucking like one fish into 5,000, but you know, it might only be 5. I don't disagree, but like, what are you here to do? Are you here to make popular lies, or are you here to tell people on the internet to track the journey that you're going on? Like, you've already got
It would almost be more earnest if he was just like, dude, this is like a short-term gig for me. I'm trying to make as much money as possible, and I'm sorry that I led any fans to believe that I'm anything more than just a temporary creator on this platform, and I'm doing what's best for me in the moment. Like, that would be sick. That would be dope. You know, I can get behind that. I can be like, all right, bet, get your bag. But it's clear that's not the case here. He's struggling internally with like who he is.
more money than you need, than you ever thought that you were going to earn. You're already more popular than you ever thought you were going to be. So why not have the next period of the arc be, okay, I'm just going to tell the truth. And especially if, as it seems, you know, this is one of the perils of young fame. If you haven't worked out who you are before you have incentives from people on the internet encouraging you to be somebody else.
This is the most reasonable dose of reality Hamza is ever going to receive, and it's going to mean absolutely nothing to him. Yeah, that's why I wanted to show it to you guys, because I think it's actually interesting. I don't watch Chris Williamson that often, but this video stuck out to me in particular because I've never seen anything like it. The only thing I can really compare it to is when Joe Rogan had to talk with Brendan Schaub about his fight career.
You're never going to work out who you are for as long as you're owned by the people on the internet. So ultimately, what are you looking to, like, you're looking to bring this into land at some point. I know that you want to have a family. I know that you want to get into, you know, like a committed long-term relationship. Like, do you want
He's just getting little
to
broed
continue
right
to
now.
play this game where you're like, I'm 36. You become 36 and you're like, I still don't really know who I am. Like, do you really want to do that? Because I don't see unless you begin to be prepared to be more open and honest online, I don't see the moment at which you're able to separate yourself from the content. It's so immersive. You're spending all of your time in the forums. And again, like, for the people that are listening, this is you every single time that you compromise the things that you do or the things that you say in order to appease the people that are around you. And the reason that I can talk about this is because this is what I did for like 15 years, right? When somebody asked me a question, I would not think, what do I think? I would think, what does Hamza want?
Wait, Chris, pump the brakes for a sec, okay? He's just going in and in and in. He's not letting up. It's crazy. It's honestly I can't say it. Miraculous to watch.
To hear me say, so that I will become as high status and popular and well liked.
And I think he's doing it because it stems from a place of like genuine care. Obviously, I don't know either of these individuals, but that's the only logical reasoning as to why somebody's going this hard. He probably actually cares about him more so than I do.
In his opinion. And I'd gotten to the top of the professional party boy industry, the Love Island thing, all the rest of it. But you're never
100% premeditated. This is leading a mouse to the cheese. This is catching a pest This is a spider weaving its web and waiting for the prey to fly into it. Yeah, there's no way he would have just agreed to this.
With the things that you do or the successes that you have in your life, because they're not real. They're not you. Like,
This
you
is
didn't do
entrapment.
those things. The persona that you made did those things. Like, the persona doesn't receive love. It receives praise. You're always
Hamza,
existing
my son.
one layer away. You're 1 degree separated from your accomplishments and the work that you do. And even if someone says, dude, I love when they did the thing, you know in the back of your mind, yeah, but that's not really me. You don't see me.
Yeah, it is kind of unfortunate. Because if this is the genuine Hamza, he has the self-awareness. Like, he's being cheeky, tongue-in-cheek. He's like, you caught me. You literally got me. His back is against the wall. If you met Hamza at a party and it was just like, yo, dude, shoot it to me straight. Do you, like, care? Do you actually care about, like, the things you say? And like, there's no shot. There's no fucking way. I think he would tell you the truth right then and there. Because he himself says that he's not an asshole. And I could believe that, but you blur the line of the internet and reality, and this is just what you get.
Yeah.
You see the role. You see the fucking mystique. You know, like, you do not need to see the real me. You do not need to see the real me. Like, that's what you're doing. So it's like, fucking well played, Russell Crowe as Gladiator. Well played, Chris Hemsworth as Thor. No one's applauding them. They're applauding the actor, right? They're applauding the actual character that they play. And that's why people feel hollow in victory or alone in a crowd, because no one sees them. They don't see what they're doing.
The most common compliment I've ever gotten is, "You've changed my life." And it's from guys who tell me deep stories. They were suicidal, they were depressed, they were anxious, whatever. And when I get that compliment, it does nothing to me. And I've always wondered why. Like, I don't give a fuck. When someone says this to me, it does 0 things to me.
That's hilarious, honestly. I appreciate the honesty there. It's because there's a mismatch.
Even any compliment I get with my work, it often does nothing. It only does something because I use it as a way to get status and recognition from other people. You know, it's a screenshot worthy of other people. And I've always...
It's the dark triad traits, bro. It's just Machiavellian. Narcissistic.
wondered why that is, and I think you're so right. It's because what they're really saying is, like, your persona helped me. Like, cult leader Hamza helped me.
Oh, yeah. By the way, he also... his name on his YouTube channel was Cult Leader Hamza, and he would do this as a joke, but it's not a joke if you believe it, because he genuinely thought that he was like leading a cult of men, of soy boy pussies. But he changed it back to Hamza Ahmed, obviously. And Hamza 97, because he's born in 97. The man is a year older than me. So I find it funny to just look at, like, the trajectory and paths and moves that people make.
Right.
It wasn't
that's not
actually
you. Yeah. And it's, you know, I think for the guys that are a bit older, at least from what it's not you. Yeah.
Paths and moves that people make.
Right.
It wasn't
that's not
actually
you. Yeah. And it's, you know, I think for the guys that are a bit older, at least from what I can see,
his Instagram is still Cult Leader Hamza. Yeah.
The message is great, the positioning is great, the optics are great, all of that stuff's great, but you wouldn't be working this hard at trying to do personal development if you weren't, like, tearing yourself up inside trying to find out who you are. So if that's the case, like, what are we doing here pretending that this is a fucking messiah? Like, you don't have the answers.
Yo! This is an insane dose of reality. You're not the fucking messiah. You don't have the answers. Stop LARPing.
And that's fine. Yes, people will come to you who you are. So if that's the case, like, what are we doing here pretending that this is a fucking messiah? Like, you don't have the answers. And that's fine. Yes, people will come to you and you're going to grow the platform from that. But I think you have an opportunity over the next few years to really make a hard pivot into, I can be uncertain about things, I can be fearful, I can be vulnerable, I can be open, I can be scared, I can be ashamed, I can be guilty, I can be all of those things, and I can still be proud of myself, and I can still be successful. And I think that you'll really connect with what it is that you do. And this is, again, I'm saying this to you.
Going on? Okay. That's a good point. Some of you might feel some sympathy until that comment. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about when people actually open up to me. It does nothing for me. Damn.
You, and you might as well be a mirror of what I'm saying to myself. This great quote from Neil Gaiman that says, "The moment that you feel that, just possibly, you're walking down the street naked, exposing too much of your heart and your mind and what exists on the inside, showing too much of yourself, that's the moment you may be starting to get it right." And I think he's true. I think that's the way it works.
He had that quote locked and loaded, by the way.
Well, thank you for saying that.
It's my pleasure. I wanted to get this.
Yeah, get fucked. No, truly, it's my pleasure. I take joy in humbling your ass.
Across to you today, because I think that you have the opportunity to be a really good influence on the guys, but crucifying yourself on like the cross of your own platform I don't know.
That's a crazy way to put it.
I don't think that's noble. Like to do that, to play some like massively, not that you have been, but like some slightly deceitful game for like a fucking decade, and then come out the other side of it and be like, I don't care about it. Like I didn't feel like it was me. I didn't do that thing.
The
And
pleasure's all mine.
This is every single person who at the water cooler, when asked a question of like, hey, how's give me your opinion on this thing. Give me your opinion on the new Dune movie. And you're like, do you know what it is? I actually really didn't like it. Like sci-fi kind of, it's just not my thing. If Dune's popular at the moment, right? Most people probably want to hear you say, oh, it's so amazing. Oh, wasn't it amazing? Did you watch it in IMAX? Oh, I watched it in IMAX. Did you get Sour Patch Kids? People don't always want to hear what they want to hear. So as a perfect example, I had a text conversation with like someone that previously I would have not ever dared say anything that I thought might have upset them. And they asked me about someone that had been on the show, and I was like, do you know what it is?
It's got to be Joe Rogan.
I actually really like him. Like, I think that his takes are great, and this is good, and that's good. And he was like, I think he's a fucking dick. And I'm like, all right, well, like, I quite like this thing he did and that thing he did. And I was like, there is no world in his...
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. I mean, it'd be extremely lame and vanilla and bland if everyone agreed on everything. Part of the reason why some of you are here right now listening to me talk is probably because we have different views and opinions on things, and that's just the way it is. That in itself is genuine. That's human. That's part of our experience. That's what makes this interesting. If this was an echo chamber, it would be whack.
History where that actually lowers this other person's perception of me. That's just my opinion. Like, people don't always want to hear what they want to hear. They don't just want you to agree. They just want to know what you think. Like, they want to know, hey, when they say, what did you think of the Dune movie? Idiots may want to just hear the thing that they can agree to. But anyone that's even remotely insightful wants to go, what did you actually fucking think about that movie? What?
Just give me something real. What is that piece of media that I'm thinking about? Is it a Black Mirror episode? Or is it a movie? Fuck. Where the whole premise is they just want something real. Oh. It's 20 million credits. I think that's my favorite Black Mirror episode. I know Black Mirror can get a little mid-wit-ish, like, oh, what, did you learn about that in film class? Like, no, you just appreciate the show for what it is. Essentially, if you guys haven't seen 20 million credits, I have a video on it. I don't know if it's still up, but this is a dystopian setting where you have to pedal on a bike to earn credits, and then you could spend the credits, 20 million of them, to basically go on American Idol and become an influencer and get fame and escape the rat race. And everyone does a typical thing when they get the credits. They go and they give a musical performance, but the main character, the protagonist, gets to all the credits, works really hard, even gives like the girl his own credits, and he freaks out on stage, has like a manic breakdown, and then the judges applaud him, right? Because it was real, it was from the heart. And then he gets audience locked into the same exact thing, being the cookie cutter fucking influencer that he sought to destroy. And that's the entire episode. 15 million merits. Okay. Not 20 million credits. 15 million merits. That's what I meant. And it's a beautiful message. It's interesting.
What do you actually think about that creator? What's your opinion actually on relationships? Not what do you think is an acceptable thing that will make you popular so that I can, like, you know, like just playing that game. That's not what they want to hear. What they want to hear is what you actually fucking think about something. And that's actually unique. Like, that's genuinely unique because it can't be copied.
Yeah, and the girl got forced into being an OnlyFans hoe, essentially.
But people can copy anything.
More like hardcore.
If it's just a formula, it's like, no, well, he's not following his instincts. We can just fucking reverse
Pornography.
engineer this algorithm.
Well, it's very much like what we were saying with dating women and being vulnerable, showing your authentic side. It's like, maybe I'm still trying to learn the skill of showing that to the world, really.
Well, it's very hard. And God, fucking hell, man, as a young guy who's still, I mean, you're so much further ahead. Than I was. And it's, everybody in my audience is. Like, all of the people that are in my audience are like, you know, there's always those jokes about me at 14, this generation at 14, and me at 14 was like, you know, head to toe in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pajamas playing RuneScape or something. And like this generation's are like, you know, partying. And
Wonder if her 13-year-old son edited her OF photos, though. Talking about the actress, yeah, we'll get into that drama too.
a Hummer or something like that. But it is kind of the same with personal development too. Like, I look back and oh my God, these teenage kids that listen to this show or you know, any show on the internet, and you're like, you're asking yourself questions that it took me to like 28 to even know existed, not to answer. Like, to even know that that was a question that you could ask, to even think that truth is something that's important, to even realize that vulnerability and emotions is something that you should integrate, not be fearful of, or not hide away. Like, all of this shit. You're like, wow, that's fucking cool.
For my own personal benefit, what are
here
some
we go.
questions?
Here we go. Here, let's hear this insightful diarrhea that's about to come out of his mouth.
Do you think I should ask myself?
Oh, he posed a question.
If money and status were no object, what would I do? If I was less afraid of other people's opinion,
What do you mean? That's all there is to life.
what would I do?
Huh?
If I was less afraid of other people's opinions, what would I say? what actually makes me happy? Does success make me happy?
He looks like he's gonna cry.
What is my definition of success? What is my definition of success if money was taken out of the equation? What is my definition of success if money and followers were taken out of the equation? Because that's what you're optimizing for. What are the things that I'm hiding from myself?
All right, everybody's been talking about give your dog the egg challenge, so I'm gonna give it a try with that big goofy guy. The other two, nah. Max, Max.
Oh, God.
What you got there, big boy? Huh? Can I have it? Oh, I gotta hold your hand? Thank you. Can I have this back? He still has it. He doesn't want to give it back. Can I have it back? Max. Can I have it back? I need it.
What are the emotions that I'm unprepared to feel? What are the things that I feel the most shame and guilt around? Like, and again, I could be drawing from my own fucking journal here. But I'll send you some stuff that
I got you,
I've
bro.
written that
Don't
I think
worry.
would be useful for you. But those are some, and most of them are you trying to unpack assumptions about yourself. It's like, hey, I think this thing, but I really don't know if I do, and I really want to work out if that's right.
I mean, I'll stop hating for a second. My genuine criticism would be, if he doesn't know what to make content about, why doesn't he pose a question to his audience and then try to figure it out together instead of just being like, this is the way, Adonis. Because in reality, he can't hold his own thoughts. It's just a bunch of just jumbled up bullshit, smoke and mirrors to optimize for the most revenue and fucking turnover to school.com.
I think this thing. Let's stress test it a little bit.
You are so right. I feel like there's a transformation I'm going through, which is to really find myself. Like these have been.
If you're going through a transformation, you might not want to like do it online, you know? Take some time off. Just sit back for a moment, think on some things. No? Yeah, I don't think I don't think being terminally online and telling others how to think and what to think while you yourself are a work in progress is just can't be the move.
In some very formative years, like, you know, I finished university, I graduated, I got into entrepreneurship, but
What did you do at uni?
Psychology.
Shock horror.
But I've been through these last few years with so much change. But whilst it's felt like a lot of people have been watching my every step, so it's like even the way
What's crazy is even if people are watching your every step, if you fuck up and you just own up to it, you're fine. In fact, people will probably respect you more. It's not that hard to figure out, but I guess for some people it is.
I sit or I walk has been
Crafted.
Yeah, it's been crafted for the image. And it's like, do I actually want to walk like with the alpha male body language? Do I actually want to be manspreading right now?
Of course not.
Or is it just because I'll get like, you know, there'll be a comment of someone saying that my legs are too close together?
Honestly, well, I mean, dude, I'm wearing fucking Crocs and shorts, and I'm sure that there will be a number of people that have got a problem with it. But hey, guess what? That's what I was wearing earlier on. Like that's what I wear around the house. And I'm absolutely not totally bereft of being at the mercy of other people's opinions. But one guy that you should maybe even do an interview with for Adonis School, Dr. Robert Glover, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Beyond outstanding. Phenomenal. And he has the three constituent parts of an attractive man.
That's a pretty mid-wit recommendation, to be honest. That book has like floated around pickup circles forever. It's just... I don't think that is the antidote to Hamza's problems, to be honest.
And he says, a man who has a mission, knows where he's going, and is having fun while he's going there. It's like, hey, that's fucking easy to do. Like, having fun while he is doing a thing. Like, okay, so he's fully embodying what it is that he's spending his time doing. Like, he's actually integrating that into himself.
I'm getting so many insights. I wasn't expecting this to be like a
Therapy session.
Yeah, coaching session.
Well, look, again, maybe it'll be interesting.
So many insights is funny. Maybe realizations. I don't know about insights.
We haven't done many episodes where I've opened up, but then I also don't speak to that many people that I'm as close to as you, and also not people that I'm invested in. You know, like I genuinely do want you to become better. But one of the other challenges I think of young guys is, what does authenticity mean? I've heard these things about what women want or the world, and for women as well. I'm sure, you know, maybe they. It's kind of uncool for young women to become mothers or whatever at the moment. It's like, hey, I really just want a family, and I'm terrified if I say that people are going to think that I've like been conned by the patriarchy, or I really want a career, and I'm terrified that the right is going to call me some like wannabe boss bitch chick. So people compromise the things that they want to do all the time, and working out.
I think some people have looked at themselves in the mirror and have just decided that truly none of this really matters. At least that's what they convince themselves. So they have no problem sacrificing a piece of themselves to just scientifically and methodically carve out the very audience that they want, and they make content that appeals to those fringe groups, right? And then they just run with it. And they just chameleon themselves to match the popular thought. And then you just wind up like this.
What you actually want, like...
It's social media nihilism paired with an entrepreneurial spirit. Somebody who's actually pretty hardworking and cracked with it, with that thought, is a dangerous person. It's pandering.
What are you? And I think that this is the most legit criticism that I saw, like, post your breakup, was that talking about trying to keep an alpha masculine facade, like the James Bond style of talking, going, like, it just doesn't work.
That's so fucking cringe. I'm pretty much James Bond. I lower my voice on purpose and speak slowly. I walk with my chest out, shoulders back. I death grip people's hands when I shake them. It's so fucking dumb, dude. Oh my god. These baseline, just inept masculine platitudes that these men worship and let consume them, and they turn into fucking characters, cartoons.
Some mango. Looks pretty good, huh?
Master.
I have missed you, my dear Padawan. The galaxy has grown colder without your idealism.
And yet it is your actions that have brought the galaxy to its darkest hour.
Do you believe the Republic could have survived as it was? Do you think the Jedi were equipped to face the rot within? You saw it as I did. You always questioned the Council's blind allegiance.
I questioned their attachment to politics, yes. Their rigidity. Their failure to listen to the will of the Force. But I never abandoned their principles. I never betrayed what it meant to be a Jedi.
I did what I thought was necessary. The Republic was crumbling, Qui-Gon. It had to fall for something better to rise.
At what cost? How many lives have been destroyed in your pursuit of this better galaxy? Entire planets reduced to ash? Innocent lives discarded as collateral damage? You once spoke of peace, of justice. This is neither.
Sacrifice is the price of progress. I did what had to be done. The galaxy is too vast, too chaotic, to be governed by weakness.
And who decides what is weakness? Is it you, or the Sith you now serve?
I am no Sith. I have used their power, yes, but I remain above their petty squabbles. I seek balance, Qui-Gon. Order.
You delude yourself if you believe you can wield the darkness without being consumed by it. Look at what it has made of you, Master. Look at what it has made of the galaxy. I have watched the Clone Wars unfold, helpless to intervene. I have seen the suffering it has caused, the lives it has shattered, and I cannot help but question if I could have stopped it. If I had been more willing to challenge the Council, to confront the corruption head-on, perhaps I failed as your Padawan, as a Jedi. But you have taken that failure and turned it into a weapon that has torn the galaxy apart.
You were not a failure, Qui-Gon. If anything, you were the finest of us. You saw what others could not. But you were blind to the truth. The Republic was beyond saving. It had to be destroyed for peace to have a chance.
Peace built on a foundation of fear and oppression is no peace at all. You have become what you once despised, Master. A tyrant cloaked in noble intentions.
You cannot see the larger picture. The war is but a means to an end. When it is over, the galaxy will know true order, true peace.
The ends do not justify the means. Not when those means have cost the galaxy its soul. You have slaughtered the innocent, betrayed those who trusted you, all in the name of your vision. Tell me, Master, is this what you wanted? Is this what you dreamed of when you left the Jedi Order?
I dreamed of a galaxy free from corruption. A galaxy where strength could guide the weak, where chaos would be tamed.
But at what cost? You have allowed the Sith to twist your vision, to use you as a pawn in their own game. Do you not see it? Palpatine's strings are everywhere, and you are tangled in them as much as anyone.
Do not speak to me of Palpatine. I know his nature better than you could ever imagine. I have used him as much as he has used me.
And yet here you are, fighting his war, carrying out his will. You are not free, Master. You are as much a slave as the clones who die on these battlefields.
It is too late for me, old friend. The galaxy is on the brink, and I must see this through.
It is never too late, Master. Not until the end.
Goodbye, my dear Padawan.
must you haunt me even in death, Dooku?
I am here because your master's plans are clearer to me now than they ever were in life. And you, as always, are blind to them.
Your presence is as pointless now as it was in life. You are nothing but a tool for Sidious, discarded the moment your purpose was served.
And you believe you are any different? Do not delude yourself. You have been replaced before you've even completed your purpose. He's already chosen his new apprentice.
Sidious's plans are beyond your comprehension.
I was his apprentice long before you groveled at his feet. I know his ambitions and manipulations. Why do you think he sent you to confront your son on Bespin? He doesn't want you to destroy Luke Skywalker. He wants you to mold him, to prepare him.
You know nothing of my master's will.
Oh, I know far more than you. Sidious is never content with what he has. He sees Luke as the perfect vessel, untainted by the machine you've become, unbroken by the failures you carry. He will discard you, Vader, as he discarded me, as he will discard Luke when his time comes.
You were discarded because you were weak. I am not.
My usefulness had run its course. You, however, cling to your purpose like a drowning man to driftwood, blind to the fact that it is splintering beneath you. Tell me, how does it feel to know that your master sees your son as your better?
I will not listen to your poison.
The truth is not poison. Every action you take tightens Sidious's grip on your fate. He let you believe you were his equal, but you are not. You are his slave, nothing more.
I am no slave. I forged this path to bring order to the galaxy.
You call this order? Mustafar is a reminder of your greatest defeat. You betrayed those you swore to protect, and for what? A galaxy under Sidious's rule. A galaxy where your son will inherit nothing but your failures.
You were a pawn to be discarded. Discarded for me because I am stronger.
And you? Are you not the same? Every scar on your body, every breath from your mask, is a testament to your servitude. You despised me for my arrogance, for my disdain of the Jedi's blind dogma. Yet you became what I foresaw, a broken man, chained to a greater darkness.
I am not broken. I have more power than you could have ever imagined.
Answer this. Why does Sidious crave your son's loyalty? Why does he test